tonight. It's an honor to be here. It's a really big sacrifice to be in Houston in the winter as opposed to Pittsburgh in the snow. Next week, my oldest son turns 12. And I was thinking about when he was born. When my son was born, I remember, well, before he was born, I guess you could say, I remember kind of panicking when I was thinking about the life that he would live. I'm sort of an overachiever, very competitive, and I always wondered, like, would he be like me? Would he like school? What if he didn't like school? Like, what if he dropped out and flunked out of school? Like, how would I handle that? And I remember, like, panicking over all these things about what kind of life he would live and what kind of person he would be. But 3 months after Gunnar was born, our doctor called to tell me that he had tested positive through his newborn screen for a disease that I had never heard of, cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a deadly genetic disease that both now my son and my youngest child, my daughter, both have. And I remember kind of in that moment, when the doctor called to tell me, figuring out what CF really was, you can almost animate what happened, in my mind of this, all of these worries I had about the future that he would lead, just kind of like floated away, like just on balloons. College, career, family, just floated away because my mission no longer became, making sure he was valedictorian like his mom, or that he got a full ride into a college. My mission became make him see college. Let him experience college. Let him experience every joy life has. That's what my whole mission became about. And well, Gunnar and Gracie, they are doing great today. Gunnar's in an amazing clinical study. If you want some tips about stock to buy, see me later. They have the best medical care, which, because we live in a country with amazing health care, we are so incredibly blessed. But some of the things I've learned over the past 12 years, I wanted to share with you tonight, because becoming Gunnar's mom has made some things very, very clear to me. The first thing is that, our lives span a mere millisecond on this earth. And while sometimes the days of homeschooling or traveling may drag on and on and on, our lives are very short. And for some of us, they might even end abruptly, without them. I also have learned that your life can't be measured, and shouldn't be measured in the mere decades it spans. It's what you do here. It's what you do with the time that you have. It's the change that we produce in our world. It's the legacy that we leave behind. It's those who we bring to Christ. That's the legacy. That's what our life should be really measured by. And it's the life that I live, and hopefully I inspire my children to live, which is one of mission. It's one of purpose. Because I know who I was made by, who I was made for, and the mission I've been asked to embark on. Now, I have 3 missions in my life. One is to spread the truth and the love and the hope of my Savior to everybody I come into contact with, even the really not nice lady in the Walmart parking lot in Vero Beach, Florida this week, even her. My second mission is to ensure that my children, my legacy, become saints. And there is one who is going to really test me on that. And I named him Bear, and my mom said, if you expected anything different, you Christian and named him this. So apparently children become what you name them. And my third mission is the one I want to talk to you all about here tonight, is why we are gathered here. It's to abolish the violence of abortion, to make abortion an unthinkable act, not an act that happens 100 times every hour of every single day. And it's this mission I hope that you all will seriously consider taking up with me. Because it's a mission that desperately needs your devotion and attention. It's a mission that, despite what your fears or inadequacies may be, is truly worth fighting for. It's a mission that I promise you will render your life well lived. And the good news is it's a mission that can be accomplished. Nearly 15 years ago, I was asked to leave my budding career in politics. I know I'm like the favorite person to bring the parties. I talk about abortion and faith and politics. It's super popular. I'm the only Catholic in my family too, so I am really popular. I was asked to leave my career to launch a new organization, to do something a little different, because we knew there was a problem in the pro-life movement. Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion vendor, was running unopposed on our nation's colleges and high school campuses. Young people were consistently polling pro-choice. The brand of who we are as pro-lifers was turning people away from joining what we know is the greatest human rights cause our world faces. So we knew we had to do something a little bit different, that we had to go right when the abortion industry was trapping young people in their predatory business cycle, and we had to battle for the hearts and the minds of this generation. Because as much as I love politics, we can talk about that all day long, but I know the USCCB is streaming it, so I'll get in trouble. We can talk about politics, and politics is important. Passing laws matter. The Hyde Amendment, which Nancy Pelosi has promised to strip out, will result in lives ended because we'll be paying for abortions with our taxpayer dollars. But we can pass all the laws we want in Austin, in Washington, D.C., hopefully nothing in Washington, D.C. next year. It's delay, delay, delay. But if we don't win this generation, if we don't win these young people, everything we fight for, every politician you give money to get something accomplished, it will all be erased. Because the generation behind us will erase it. So we have to win them, and we have to win their hearts, and we have to win their minds, and we have to transform the way we talk about abortion, the way we talk about unexpected, unplanned pregnancies. So that's really been our mission, to go on the campuses and to use an evangelical model. Belong, believe, behave. I don't know if anyone ever watches The Office. And Dwight Schrute, does anyone watch The Office? Talks about putting out his beets. He's a little farmer on the side. And he tells everybody, you gotta put your roadside beets. Those are your most attractive beets on the side of the road. And then the dented beets, the damaged and bruised beets, they go in the back. That's what we do on campus. We say, where is the most attractive, popular boy and girl? And we're going to recruit them. We're going to turn them into pro-life activists, and then they're going to go get everybody to join the Students for Life. Because it's belong, believe, behave. People first have to feel like they can listen to you, that they trust you, that they want to hear the things that are coming out of your mouth before they'll actually listen to what you're saying. And that is exactly what we're doing on campuses across the country. But I have to be honest, it's not an easy mission. When we started 15 years ago, I got a lot of job offers from folks. I love your passion. I love what you're doing. If you need a job, let me know. No one thought it'd be possible. But the good news, friends, is that this is a winnable battle. That through this grittiness, this relentlessness, through the Holy Spirit working through us, we've seen success after success. We have momentum like we've never had before. Abortion is on a decline in our nation. We have a historic low in abortion rates in our nation. The number of abortion facilities is at a 25-year low in our country. The majority of our 50 states are now led by pro-life governors and pro-life state legislatures. During President Obama's 8 years as President of the United States, we passed more pro-life legislation in state legislatures than ever before, more than 300 laws that saved lives. Americans' view of abortion continues to shift in our favor. In fact, I got polling results today that we haven't even released yet that shows a plurality of young people, about 48%, I think 39 or so, say that when a fetal heartbeat has been detected, that abortion should no longer be allowed. Now I just have to tell them how early that is. But that's good news. The majority of Americans, over 70%, agree our taxpayer dollars should fund abortions. And doctors and nurses and pharmacists should be forced to violate their conscience in order to serve people. Our nation's highest court, which today, we remember, they gave us Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bull. That court now is firmly in the pro-life majority. There's 17 cases now making their way to the U.S. Supreme Court to challenge Roe v. Wade and Doe versus Bull. And the most indicative statistic that we have, you see it every year at the March for Life. When 3/4 of that crowd is under 25. In fact, I tried to register the March for Lifers one year to vote, and that was a stunning failure. Because one, you can't use iPads in the cold, your fingers won't work, and two, no one was over 18 to register to vote. That's a good problem to have. Because friends, when young people are on your side, and whatever movement you're in, you know victory is on its way. You can look at the success we've had Students for Life. Not that I knew what I was doing when I was 21, when we started Students for Life. I still don't know if I know what I'm doing half the time. But the fact that we've been able to train 100,000 young people, grow from 100 pro-life groups to nearly 1,300 today. The fact that Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion vendor, that receives about $600 million in our taxpayer dollars, last year actually bragged that they trained 700 students. I don't know why they would brag about that in their own annual report. You don't have to tell people your failures. They did. They thought that was a good thing. Last year we trained over 13,000 young people, and we had COVID and we're shut up. Online and in person, we had 225,000 conversations last year about abortion. And online, 31% of the young people we identified and knew were pro-choice changed their minds after engaging with us. 31%. I'll take that any day of the week. It costs $4.14 to convert that person. Not that I'm competitive and trying to beat myself. I'm just saying. In schools like in Reading, PA, and Spokane, Washington, we've been able to kick Planned Parenthood out of the high schools to stop their predatory sex ed curriculum. In other schools, Christian schools, don't get me started about some of the Christian colleges, we've been able to transform policies. Schools like Liberty University, one of the preeminent Baptist schools in the country, to change policies to no longer kick girls out of the dorms if they become pregnant. That's huge. And the narrative of our movement, how the media portrays us, is now young, hip, and joyful. Every time the New York Times or Wall Street Journal talk about this generation, you will always see a young, smiling girl. So a lot of them were Melanie, who's right here from UTSA. We stick Melanie in front of the cameras everywhere. She was out this entire fall during the confirmation hearings of Amy Coney Barrett. So you saw Melanie in our SCOTUS squad. And our goal was to get from every single camera to not let their narrative rule the day, because we know the narrative that they want to paint. That young people are pro-abortion, that they support abortion extremism, and that's not the reality. So they dressed up like hands, mane, and tails, and I made Melanie dress up like what? She was very not happy with me with that. She looked so cute. She had fake pearls and a wig. It was precious. The U.S. senators all loved it. They all came out to take pictures. So we have momentum. I know a lot of us have despair about what's happening in our country. And I'm not here to tell you it's going to get easier. It's not going to get easier. We are going to have some serious challenges. Challenges to our entire movement. Challenges like our freedom of speech. This year, Students for Life groups in Iowa were labeled hate groups. Why? Because we were anti-abortion. That's it. We were arrested for trying to sidewalk shop preborn Black Lives Matter in front of the Planned Parenthood in Washington, D.C. Don't feel bad, we'll win that lawsuit. There's going to be serious challenges just for our existence in the pro-life movement, for our right to speak out against the extremists in Washington, D.C. and in Planned Parenthood. We have challenges coming to our college and high school campuses. Did you all know in California now, this month, every state university will be dispensing the chemical abortion pill. Every college campus, state campus in California, is now an abortionist. And that was state mandated. And what happens in California does not stay in California. We want to build a wall, build it around California. I am serious. Yeah. That's where it should happen, folks, because it's coming. They want abortions to be as quick as possible, and they want to make as much money per abortion as possible, and chemical abortion is the way to go. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. And they're more determined than ever before. We've been there at the Women's March. We were there this year at the Women's March. We had pepper spray in our face. They spray painted us. Our signs, our bodies, I was holding a sign and was being accused of being violent. They tried to arrest me they wanted the police to arrest me. What was I doing? Holding a pro-life gen sign. That's all I was doing. But holding a sign was violence. They are more determined than ever before. Why? Because they are desperate. They fear the day we know is coming is very near. Why do they have this fear? Because so many of them are hurting from a past abortions. They're hurting. This is why we don't get angry at those who yell and spit at us, or hate groups or violence. Because we know what's going on inside of them is pain. And they are hurting. They're afraid. Because in their gut, so many of them knew before they had that abortion that there was something wrong with going into that Planned Parenthood. But then a friend, their pastor, their boyfriend told them it was okay. It was the responsible decision. And they fear that the nation that told them it was okay to choose abortion is soon going to tell them it wasn't okay. That it wasn't empowerment. It wasn't choice. It was violence. And they fear that because they'll have to face that. They have to be all in. So my question to you tonight is, are you all in? Are you really all in on this mission which I guarantee you, no matter what part of the pro-life movement you join, whether it's working in the pregnancy center, whether it's ministering to women who are seeking healing from their abortion, whether it's speaking out on college and high school campuses or joining us on the streets, whatever your call in this mission is, are you all in? Because we can win this. We do have the momentum. But we need you. We need you more than ever before. Yesterday, I left it in my purse, but the reading during Mass, it was, "Here I am, Lord, I've come to do your will." And one of the psalm verses was, "I didn't remain silent," or "I used my voice." I'm putting that on my wall. Did we remain silent, or did we use our voice? And did we say, "I've come to do your will"? And I know there's fear. Anytime we talk about abortion, it's fear. I don't know if I have the right words, or what if I say the wrong thing? I want to challenge you tonight to get rid of that fear that you have. Because there's really only one person and one thing we should fear. Everything else does not come from him. We know when we have truth, when you speak truth, no matter how uneloquently it may be, you bring light. You always bring light. Because you're bringing his light. And darkness will have no choice but to flee. Darkness, light is always defeating darkness. Darkness can't compete. So don't be afraid. You're going to face ridicule. It may be hard. But this is what we're called to do. This is the mission that we're called to live. So I hope you'll join me tonight. Today we mourned. We ended up mourning for the 62 million that we lost. But we've lost since 1973. But tonight we're supposed to commit. Because tomorrow, our army of love is supposed to go out there. We're supposed to go out there to speak for every child. No matter whatever their skin color may be, their gender, their sexual preference, their economic or immigration status. We speak for every single one that you're called to because we know their value, their dignity, whose image they were made in. We are the pro-life generation. Every single one of you is the pro-life generation. I don't care your birth date. You're here. You're in the pro-life generation. You're the future. And the future will be anti-life.